I wanted to show those of you that are interested in Singapore math through 4B. This is Singapore math, it's primary mathematics, and this that you see is for 4B. It is the US edition, and here you have the Home Instructor's Guide, the textbook, and the workbook. The textbook is about $17, give or take a little bit. The Home Instructor's Guide is about $17, around that. The textbook and workbook are around $13. Okay, so this is the set, and you can see it's a B. There's a 4A and a 4B, which would be for one full school year. Each letter, A or B, covers just one semester of school. So you would need an A and a B for a whole year. Okay, so this is the basic set. This is what you need. But also, if you want more practice, they have 3 or 4 additional practice books. There's the challenging word problems, there's intensive practice, there's extra practice, and I believe there's one more. I think it's called Math Sprints, maybe. Okay, so I'm going to go through the Home Instructor's Guide. Okay, this Home Instructor's Guide that I have was copyrighted 2003. Here are just some general instructions here. The light bulb is for adjectives, and the notebook here, little notebook picture, is for notes to the teacher. The black arrow is for activities and to help the student, understand the math you're trying to teach. The dice is for some games. The book with a black hand finger pointing to it tells you what lesson to do or what page to do in the textbook. The notebook with a pencil tells you what pages to do in the workbook. And like I said, this is for US edition. They also sell a standards edition and a Common Core edition. Okay, so here's the table of contents. Okay, you can see Unit 1 covers decimals, and there are 4 parts to Unit 1. There are tenths, hundredths, thousandths, and rounding off. Okay, and then there's a review. Unit 2 is over the 4 operations of decimals. Addition, so Part 1 is over addition and subtraction. Part 2 is multiplication. Part 3 is division. Here's the rest of that. And then you have a review. Unit 3 is over measures. So you will have multiplication of compound units, dividing compound units, and a practice. Unit 4 is on symmetry. So the child will learn about symmetric figures, lines of symmetry, completing symmetric figures, and they'll have a review C and D. Unit 5 is over solid figures. They will learn to identify solid figures. Okay, so on symmetry figures, sorry, I was down on solid figures. Okay, Unit 5, solid figures. They will build solids using cubes, and that's probably where you would want to have the interlocking cubes. They will make new solids for volume. On Unit 6, they will learn about cubic units and then volume of a cuboid. And there's also practices and reviews for that. And then the rest, it gives you the answers to the workbook exercises in the back. Here's some more answers to that. And in the back of the Home Instructor's Guide, the appendix, they have additional pages you can have your child do, like for mental math. And then this list of stuff here is for things you can print out. This is the appendix section. You can print out, it's like hands-on stuff, like for this page with this robot-looking thing, the child would try to build that using interlocking cubes. So, you can print these out on cardstock, laminate them, whatever it says to do, but they just give you some extra stuff in here. And this is the mental math section. Each page is for a different time. And here are the mental math answers. And this part is the answers to the workbook. Okay, workbook answers and solutions. So for the first exercise, these are the answers. The second and third. And they also give the answers to the reviews. Okay. Alright, now back to the front. Alright. Also included in each Home Instructor's Guide is a suggested weekly schedule. So this is just an overview here of what it looks like. Alright. And alright. And you can see it ends at 17 here. That's for 17 weeks. So, that's why this is just for one semester. Okay, so for week 1, they expect you to do Unit 1, Part 1, decimals, and work with tenths. So like day 1, they'd work with tenths. Day 2, they'd do ones and tenths. Day 3, they'd do tenths and mixed fractions. Day 4, they do numbers to the 1 decimal place. And these are the textbook pages they would be needing. These are the workbook pages. You can see they don't suggest any mental math for that week. And these are the materials that you would need for the manipulatives. And this would be week 2. And this is the section that you'd be learning about on week 2. Week 3, 4, and you'd have a review. Okay. So that is how the weekly schedule is set up. Then the next thing they give you in each Home Instructor's Guide is a page listing all the additional material. So for 4B, you would need a base 10 set, number discs, multi-link cubes, place value chart, fraction squares, index cards, playing cards or 4 sets of number cards 0 to 10, number cubes, 12-inch ruler, mirror, and math mirror, which is optional. Now we didn't have a math mirror, but we just used a regular mirror, and it worked fine for what we done. Okay, so this would be the first lesson. Unit 1, decimal numbers. Part 1 is teaching the tenths. So here you have the objectives. It tells you what the child is going to learn about in this lesson. Here's a little note section to the teacher, because this book is 4B, so it's telling you that in 2B, students were introduced to 2 place decimal numbers in the context of money. And then this black arrow here, this is an activity to do with your child to help them understand what's getting ready to be taught. And then there's 2 more, and here's one. So that's a total of 4 different activities. They're giving you 4 different ways to approach this new concept to the child. And whichever concept works best for the child, it increases their chances of them retaining it and understanding it. Alright, so now that you've done that, now it tells you to do textbook page 6 through 7. Alright, and this is the textbook page. Alright, so Unit 1 on decimals, Part 1 tenths. So you and the child together would work through the textbook for questions for that day. Alright, and you can see here's number 1. Alright, and you don't write in this book. The child would just verbally tell you what would go there. Okay, and it just said 6 and 7, and that was 7. Okay. Alright, now they give you the answers to those problems, and then you would do workbook exercise 1. Okay, we're supposed to go ahead and do 1 through 4 of page 7 and 8 too. Sorry. Alright, so you already saw page 7. Well, here's page 8. Okay, and see, it tells you workbook exercise 1. So after you complete that, the textbook part, it tells you where to go in the workbook, as does the Home Instructor's Guide. So then, the child would get their workbook, and they would do exercise 1. And this is the book they write in, and since you went over it together, and you've done the manipulatives, and you studied the textbook together, then hopefully the child can do these on their own. And this is the rest of exercise 1. And the next one is exercise 2. And that would be it for one day. Now this one that you see is for a second day. They'd be studying ones and tenths. Again, you have your objectives, your note to the teacher, some activities to do. And then again, you have your textbook. You would do problems 5 through 8, which are found on pages 9 and 10. So this is page 9. And here you have page 10. Okay. And then it tells you to do workbook exercise 2. So your child would get the book, and then hopefully on their own they would be able to do this. And that's all of exercise 2. Okay. But each lesson is set up like this in the Home Instructor's Guide. They all tell you the objectives. They give you a note to the teacher. They give you some activities, hands-on manipulative learning, and then they tell you what textbook pages and problems to work on, and then what workbook problems and pages to work on. And there are reviews and practices all throughout it. Alright, let's go to another unit. Let's see. Okay, here's the review. Alright, let's look at Unit 3 for measures. This is Part 1. So we've already done 2 units now. Now we're doing Unit 3. So here are the objectives, the note to the teacher, an activity to do, and it tells you right here on page 68 to do the textbook. Trying to hold this on my lap. So it's wanting to fall off. Okay, so here is page 68, Unit 3 Measures, and it's said to do Learning Task 1, which is Problem 1, and also Learning Task 2, which is Problem 2. So here's what your child is learning about, and here are the problems for you and your child to work together, number 1 and number 2. Then after you do that, you will do another activity, if it's necessary. It may not be, your child may understand it and may not need any of these activities, but some children need different ways. So then here's another exercise to do, and that's it for that lesson. Then you're on to a new day. Okay, so that was the Home Instructor's Guide. Okay, so that was the Home Instructor's Guide. Now we will go through the textbook. Okay, so also the textbook has a table of contents, however it is not as detailed as the Home Instructor's Guide. But, Unit 1 on decimals, and then it kind of breaks it up that they're going to be learning about tenths, hundreds, and so on. You have your practices, your reviews. Unit 2, you can see your practices and your reviews. Unit 3, 4, symmetry, 5, solid figures, 6, volume, and a review. Alright, and this was the first textbook lesson. And you can see this is the textbook, so they tell you, like after you complete this part, they tell you what exercise to do in the workbook. So this is the end of one lesson here, and this is the next page for another lesson. But see, that's all you would do on that one day. Then you would go and do the exercise 2. So I will just flip through these. Try to do it page by page maybe. Here's practice. Practice. There's another practice. There's a review. You can see that review was 3 pages long. What I did is I broke it up into the course of 2 days. Here's Unit 2. Practice. Another practice. Another practice. Two more practices, a practice and a review. And see, that review is 3 pages long also. Here's Unit 3 on measures. Practice. Unit 4 on symmetry. A review. Another review. Unit 5 on solid figures. Unit 6 on volume. Two more practices. A review. I think we're at the end. Yes. Okay. So that was the textbook. And this one is the workbook. Alright, so the workbook also has a table of contents, but it just tells you again the unit number and what that topic is for that unit, and it just tells you the exercises and the reviews in that unit for the workbook. See, there's exercise 2. It's over the 4 operations of decimals. So those are all the exercises. 3 is on measures. It's a couple reviews. So you see how that is. And here are the workbook pages. They are in black and white, whereas the textbook had some color to it. And let's see here. Okay. The reason I highlighted these is I just highlighted the ones I wanted my child to do. It was something she understood fairly well, so I just highlighted or marked somehow the ones I wanted her to do. Alright, now I'm just going to be flipping a few pages at a time. And the ones that, she knew that wasn't a problem at all, we didn't even do. Okay. Alright, so if you have any questions, just ask and I will try to help. And thank you for watching.